Hi there. Um, just gonna say right off that I'm very familiar with alternative medicine. Um, Slightly, I've been introduced to it a bit. I'm from Oregon, so some of the things in alternative medicine, maybe some might be described as Eastern medicine, maybe not Western culture medicine, where you necessarily um, you get advice from a doctor. I'm not saying don't get advice from a doctor. I tell people to get medical advice all the time on things that I say in particular. Like I say, don't just take me for what I say. If you have a healthcare provider, like everybody should, you have the right to feel free to run it past him. Anything I say on this channel about health in particular, and run it across them. I've said that repeatedly, and I do try to explain that uh, detail every time that I go over something that I'm doing in particular with my own health. So, I my own health experiences with alternative medicine is I had used to have a severe case of scoliosis, and I basically um, could feel the how it didn't feel right, where it didn't feel right. I would sit like this every night for about 9 months to a year when I lived in Roseburg, Oregon. Actually, we lived there for about 20 years. I was born there. I was raised in the military, so I wasn't there. Didn't go back there until I was 12, and I left there when I was in my uh, close to mid 30s. I left. Came to where I'm at now. So, um, anyhow, I would have liked to have looked at the differences. I'll do that on my own of the temperature between where I'm at here, because I'm in Florida, to the temperature where it's at in Roseburg, Oregon. I'm just curious what the differences are. But anyways, I'm in Green Cove Springs, Florida. So just for a reference, just so anybody wanted to do that too, they could see how much better the weather is where I'm at than it is in Roseburg where I used to be. But good come out of Roseburg, I like to say, for as much of a devilish devil that I may be or seem sometimes, that I like to think of the good that came out of there with me and my experiences. And because the place is called Roseburg, I took that literal to work with rose bushes. Eventually, I had rose bushes in our yard all the time, but I wasn't always pro rose gardens and doing and taking care of roses. I got into horticulture and worked with other plants in particular. So, um, some of my experiences, I also thought doing a little bit of yard work would help my back too. So by strengthening some of my muscles or doing some heavier activity or just not being a kind of a, I guess not really weak, just not used to doing, um, you know, straining yourself out kind of. That's what I did with strenuous types of activities. So it'd be kind of like working out in your own yard, like moving barrels of rocks from like the river. You go down to the river in Roseburg. There's places down close to Myrtle Creek area where I used to go. There's a road where you take a side cut off and you can take the back way into Myrtle Creek from the I-5 coming from Roseburg. There's a gravel pit that has these huge piles of rocks. And every time I ever went in there and collected rocks, the people there around didn't care They never say anything to me about doing it, and they see me do it. So I got a ton of rocks out of there. So there's different places like that. As long as you're not like 100 people that did it, there was probably maybe 100 people in the span of maybe 10 years or maybe 20 years or 30 years even that had done that. So there was really through that amount of time very limited amount of people doing it, not enough to where the community walked away with uh, all of their rocks. They still have quarries of huge rock mines out there by the South Umpqua River. So what good comes out of there is they give you an experience to work with plants, and to really get more acquainted with the woods and nature. So kind of like getting away from people and just kind of like a field day or a day where field trip or something like how you get away from the city or something for a time, for a spell, or however you'd say it. It's a good area for that. So that's a real respectable aspect to it. Um, my experiences with roses up to now, I can clone them. I can cut them back. I don't think I'm going to do any cloning this year. I'm going to do more cleaning up. I'm going to cut them back, the roses back. I'm going to burn the as much of the scraps as I can. And then I'm going to cut them back though, like I haven't normally done before. I let them come back. But I've actually learned how to clone roses. Um, so, anyways, if it weren't for Roseburg, I wouldn't have had got an education. They helped me out tremendously. They used tax money and resources, and I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about what really goes on there at Roseburg High School and in that community. How they take care of people who are eager to get educations. It seems like the community there is really there for people. So, um, aside from other things that go on, could be anywhere like drug problems or whatever else people might need help in certain other areas. I think that the school part of Roseburg has a such a great influence and such a respectable, dignified um, presentation of itself on how a community should ought to be and treat its citizens and people and really be there and look out for them. Anybody can go and get in trouble and mix with the wrong crowds, you know, but there's really opportunities in the schools there in particular. And I wanted to say that I respect them highly for that and for being a role model and for being, if anybody 60 Minutes or anybody high top uh, TV shows were to investigate a bit like that on Roseburg, they could even pop in there and not even uh, make people know that they're there and could really, uh, inspire a lot of people from what goes on there with their community. So I just wanted to say um, that that's my opinion from my own experience and what I've seen. If there's anything I could give back to the community of Roseburg, I would say that you have a very good school setup. You have your school setup. School system is designed to be a role model and an image that any community would embrace as a top-notch, dignified, wonderful thing. So thank you for that. And now I have to talk about health and medicine. So here's the health and medicine thing. So see, I'm not a certified doctor, but if we were like kind of wild like the Indians, I would try to be a medicine man, like Indian medicine man or whatever. That would be my practice since I already work with plants and have been working with plants for a really long time. It'll be 20 years in a couple of years. Um, then I would definitely have to say that I would go into the medicine man type of practice, like a doctor. I would try to heal people with plants and other things out of resources from out of the wilderness or whatever I had or could conjure up. And it would work. It would be stuff that would be very impressive. But I would do that from research. I think of the guy on Gilligan's Island, the professor, and he didn't just wasn't just made a professor. He actually had to learn that stuff from somewhere. So I would have thought that I would have took the time to have learned uh, more health practices. So maybe that's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. But I'm doing a three piece part to health spark of life. It's the spark of life. So what it is it's a I took I took these a coffee filter and a couple of these measuring cups. Took two. See the oily stuff in here. This is eggplant. I took a eggplant, put it through a juicer, and then I just kept filtering it and filtering it and filtered about probably 10 times through a coffee filter, 8 to 10 times, and then I came up with the oil. Finally got the oil, but that was after baking it on a low temperature in the oven. And I turned the temperature up a little bit. I was a little hesitant not to work with the oven or heat too much, but just figured that I had to. There was no way I wasn't going to be able to get the moisture to evaporate out of it properly. And it was going to do something, I don't know, necessarily mold, but it was starting to look like penicillin a little bit. It was changing funk. As long as it had water moisture in it. Now it's oil grade. So we just took our finger like that, put a little bit on our finger, and we put it underneath of our tongue. We got that uh, from our veterinarian. We put a, I do it. I do the application to our dog every day. I put I put 2 squirts of twice a day of this extract, some kind of extract, plant extract or something that they made for my dog so that his skin will heal up. It's a very expensive treatment, but this one right here is all on our own, and we're trying to come up with a cancer treatment cure. That the cancer, not a cancer cure, it's a cancer preventer. It could be a cancer cure, but define it as a cancer cure, you would have to put it in a specimen, a human or something that has cancer, and watch the cancer either know it's growing and then see it stop. Then you can say that it slows down the process or stops the process of the tumor, or makes the tumor go away is what we want to see. So we want to see it work naturally somehow for some weird reason against the cancer and make the tumors in particular go away. So I have a particular specimen that I'm working on. That I'm working on with my dog, and it's got looks like some kind of big looking tumor thing on it on her back. So I've been giving her this stuff when we take it, and the eggplant extract oil will boost your immunity. Not your immunity like um, I'm not so sure about like from colds and stuff like that. That's not what I mean. I mean um, it boosts your metabolism to where you can lose weight from it. People use it as a weight uh, uh, loss um, tool, or however you'd say that, supplement. So we're using it for to try to renew our health in ourselves and all of our cells in in my body and in my father's body, dad's body. Since he was in Vietnam and he got a case of Agent Orange there. They were cooking off of the barrels and stuff like that it came in. So a lot of them cooked in their food, I guess, and they ate it. So and it really hurt them really bad, and it killed a lot of the GIs, and it's a terrible way to die, miserable way. So I'm looking at another thing, other ways, diets and stuff like that on how to prevent it. If cultures and other people eat certain foods and they can prevent cancer, I might even, maybe even, I didn't even think about this, but I might delve into Vietnam because they were hit with Agent Orange and had the Agent Orange actually sprayed in their country. So the people that would have been affected by it, if they got cancer and died, or how they maybe treated themselves, maybe there was a natural remedy that they might have had also. But anyways, we're working with uh, the eggplant extract like that. So I plan on having several come in and this all this stuff right here, I guess you can contribute it to whatever you call successes. You know, I learned a lot of stuff. I got a adult high school diploma when I didn't ever know if I would ever accomplish anything at all or be anything. So talking about somebody with severe kind of like handicaps. So it's kind of like a very strange phenomenal process that I went through as a person myself. So there's a lot of things, mistakes we all make. I just want to say some good things about that place and where I came from, and that there is a lot of good out of Roseburg. Thanks.